Well, what can I say, guys? That was an absolute horror performance. Realistically, we were just all over the shop. We fell into Liverpool's game plan, which was get us at Anfield and just make it super cagey, get in our faces, the crowd chanting. And what did we do? We crumbled. We absolutely apple crumbled, guys. I just don't understand what the game plan was. Like, realistically, what it was is that they knew that if we get the ball, we start moving it, we are much better. But if we don't get the ball, what can we do? Dean Huysen or Hausen, I want to start with you. I've been singing your praises. And this game, you go and just put on an absolute stinking performance. It's a stinker. Horrendous. Mistake after mistake. Too cool. Like, gets a yellow. Like, it's just sloppy. Look, I understand you had an injury, you came back, but like, this is not a performance that can be tolerated. Like, that was horrendous. Then we've got, who else have we got? Arda Güler comes in, and look, he didn't have like a bad game, but he didn't really have a good one. He was just quiet. He felt like a little boy on that pitch. Like, he didn't really do anything. I looked at him and I was like, is this guy like 16? Like, he just didn't command himself and he didn't, lead anything. He was just quiet. He had a chance to bring it down and go one-on-one. And he gives it to Mbappe. I don't really get that. Vinny, I mean, you're like, I swear Vinny's his own worst enemy. So at the start, I'm seeing him moving nicely and I'm like, yeah, he's going to cook Conor Bradley. And he was. He had Conor Bradley on skates at the start. And then, obviously, look, two penalties we should have had there. Conor Bradley, first, Carreras, he just doesn't even go for the ball. And then he punches Vinny in the face. Obviously, Vinny milks it and does a dive. But I do think there's something to be looked at there. But then Vinny just gets complacent and gets sucked into the crowd, gets sucked into the battle and doesn't focus on the football. And that winds me up because if he just focuses on the football, he'll absolutely dominate this kid. Like Conor Bradley, like, yeah, what's he done? Yeah, he's standing his ground. He's doing good. I guess that's like the best performance of his life is his highlight. But he's not. He's nothing compared to Vinny or to any of the Madrid players. But look, he had the game of his life, even though he gave away 2 pens. But I find it sad when they're like, "Oh, Conor Bradley cooked." It's like, come on now, like it's like a pity thing. Like, why? Like, yeah, he had a decent game. I think Vinny kept himself quiet rather than Conor Bradley. And then he had, obviously, by the end of the game, Vinny wasn't doing anything. So, yeah, he had a few tackles in there. But I hate it when they're like, this guy could boot the ball up. And then they're like, yeah, like, what are you celebrating? That ain't football. But anyway, moving on from Vinny, Mbappe just didn't really get on the ball. He didn't get on the ball. And everything he touches, he's so good. Like, he's just so fast, but he just didn't get enough on the ball, didn't get shots off. And it's sad. It's just sad. And, then we've got Camavinga. Like, this guy, like, makes me question a lot of things. Like, how are you so technically gifted and so talented, yet you have games where the ball's going underneath your foot? Like, how are you doing that? Like, please, I need to know, because this guy looks to me like he's asleep half the time. He's just there like, yo, what's good? I don't understand. Like, in an important game, like, show up. I wouldn't have started him today, Camavinga. And then Jude, the work rate first half was really good, and then it just kind of fell off. Started getting sloppy fouls, and then you gave away the foul that Soboslai went and gave a great cross, and Dean just let in McAllister, that smaller guy that shouldn't be headering there. And I feel bad for Courtois, because Courtois is literally just carried us this game. He was the man of the match for us, and we can't keep doing this to Courtois. Like, we can't rely on him. We have to turn it on. Like, a game here, like Liverpool knew what they were doing. They said, Real Madrid are coming to Anfield. What are we going to do? We are going to just make sure it's cagey as hell. We're going to focus on getting stuck in, getting into them, and just making it a horrible, ugly game. Like, they didn't care about, like, who goes and plays, like, 5 passes in a row. They don't care about the possession. They don't care about how the game's going. They just want to make it cagey, because they know as well, they've got set pieces. They've got Van Dijk and all them. They can header the ball and score goals from headers. And that's what they've done, and you got fair play to them. I mean, they did what they were planning to do. You know, they weren't going to make it pretty. They weren't going to come in here to play fancy football. And Real Madrid didn't have an answer for that. And I think that's something we need to really focus on because for games like this, especially when they're cagey and especially with a team that feels like they have something to prove for themselves because they were getting mocked because they're not doing very well. In a game like Real Madrid, where obviously Liverpool will always have this like thing against Real Madrid because obviously we've beaten them in a lot of finals and that's something they won't ever do is beat us in a final. But you know, they're gonna give everything they've got, and then they'll probably go on and get slapped on the weekend, and it'll be back to the square one for them. But you know, we should know this and we go in there like, yeah, it's cool, it's calm, but we need to go into these games like with, as we say in Spain, with cojones. And ultimately, it's just disappointing. I really hope that Xabi Alonso has a good go at the team and we learn from this. One thing, the positive I can take from this, and I'll tell you now, besides, for me, obviously Courtois and Tchouaméni, who Tchouaméni was solid, the positives I'm going to take is that it's early, it's the group stages, that's fine. It means nothing, okay? All it means is people talk, and that's fine. We can deal with the talking. People will talk when we win. People talk when we lose. That's what happens when you're the best team on the planet and the best football club in history. But we need to learn from this. We had it last year with Arsenal, but that was a knockout stage. Granted, we were in a much worse position, and you know I didn't actually think we could win those games. But it was this case of teams come to us or play against us, and they're playing against Real Madrid, and they're motivated. We need to start getting motivated and really come out in these games, and don't let these teams really think they can do something. We need to just shut them up, bang, play our game. But yeah, really disappointed. But I hope we learn from this. It's important. It's early in the season. It's still early. I want to learn from these games. We need to have an answer for these cagey games. But, you know, hats off to Liverpool. They played their game and they executed it properly. However, I do want to say, what a lack of class from the Liverpool fans, in my opinion. Look, I get it. You're upset that Trent left, but he's one of your own and he's decided to take a step in his career and move somewhere else and try something different. But everyone is, you know, booing him every time he touches the ball. Like this guy yesterday who was there paying his respects to his friend Jota, you know, and you guys are just booing him. It's just lack of class, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's his job and you can't knock a man for, you know, I don't think he did it in a disrespectful way. Look, you can say what you want, but I think it's a bit unfair. It's a lack of class. This is a guy that helped you win the Champions League in 2019, and you're all saying he's the best right back in the world, and now you're just, you know, booing him. But look, that's a Liverpool problem. But ultimately, Real Madrid, it's not good enough, and we need to learn. And hopefully, this weekend we get the 3 points, and we continue because I'm not impressed, but the dream is still there. We will win the treble, and it's all okay. But as always, ya tú sabes, and a la Madrid. On to the next.